my name is Bhumika Chauhan. Welcome back to our channel, and in today's video we are going to study the chapter How I Taught My Grandmother to Read, class 9th, chapter number 1, Kaveri book. So you all know Sudha Murthy, right? She's an excellent writer, and this chapter is obviously a real life story of Sudha Murthy. So basically here the grandmother is Sudha Murthy's grandmother. Okay, so this chapter is basically going to show that learning has no age limit. Like, it teaches us, this chapter basically teaches us that if someone wants to learn anything, and if you have that determination to learn, then you can learn and you can achieve it at any stage of life. So let's get started. When I was a girl of about 12, I used to stay in a village in North Karnataka. So the story begins with the author remembering her childhood, right? She tells us that when she was around 12 years old, she used to stay in a village in North Karnataka, right? So when she was 12 years old, basically she spent some time with her grandparents there in this village, right? Those days the transport system was not very good. Okay, so we used to get the morning paper only in the afternoon. The weekly magazine used to come one day late. All of us would wait eagerly for the bus which used to come with the papers, weekly magazines and the posts. So author begins by remembering her childhood, and she tells us that when she was around 12 years old, she lived with her grandparents in a small village in North Karnataka. After that, she is saying that those days the transport system was not very good. Okay, so this introduction basically tells us that where the story actually takes place and who the main people are. Okay, so you can clearly see that author starts with a memory from her childhood, and we can clearly see that this is a real incident. This story is a real incident. Then with these things, transport system was not very good, get the morning paper only in the afternoon, all these things shows or tells us that the story is based, or I would say that the setting is basically a village setting. Okay? And the village setting is important because that thing was very different from what we basically experience today. So that's why she is giving all these details. So author basically wants us to imagine a very beautiful, a very peaceful village life, and obviously simple people of village, like how they used to live, right? Those were the times when everything was very nice and very good. So the setting is in a village in North Karnataka. Okay, so they have to wait, like the system was not good. We used to get the morning paper only in the afternoon. Weekly magazine used to come one day late, right? Because transport system was not so good at that point of time. Yeah, in those days, right, the transport system was poor because buses were not frequent at that time, and roads were, I guess, not very well developed. Newspapers obviously reached the village one day late, yeah, only in the afternoon. Like daily magazine, this weekly magazine arrived a day late, right? So she is trying to give us an image so that we can picturize in our mind that what is basically she is trying to explain, where she was at that time and how everything happened, right? Today we receive news instantly through our phones, through TV, through internet. But 40 or 50 years ago, people entirely depended on bus to bring newspapers or to bring magazines in the village especially. So this shows how different life was before, and like life was before modern technology, obviously. Hai na bacha? Okay, now let's move forward. At the time, Now she's giving us an introduction of Triveni. At the time, Triveni was a very popular writer in the Kannada. ठीक है, Kannada language, in the Kannada language. So she is basically a popular writer, and her name is Triveni. She was a wonderful writer. So she's praising her. Her style was easy to read and very convincing. We often feel good when we read something that is very easy to understand. We often enjoy that sort of reading. When something that you read is not, easy, or you're not, getting the point what she's trying to say, or you have to open a dictionary every time you are reading something, that basically takes away the joy of reading, right? Yes. So now, her stories usually dealt with complex psychological problems in the lives of ordinary people. Can you clearly see? Complex psychological problems in the lives of ordinary people. Like, we are all ordinary people. We are not some famous or rich or, some out of the box, I would say, like individuals. We all are very ordinary people, right? And we have so many problems in our life. Now, she's talking about complex psychological, like related to brain, related to mind, related to thinking, right? Yes or no? Yes. Lives ordinary people and were always interesting. Always very interesting. So all the problems that Sudhamurti creates in her stories are basically very impressive. They genuinely create a sense of joy, we can say, in their stories, or she creates a sense of joy in her stories. So now, when the author is, introducing our very famous writer Triveni, she is saying that she is a wonderful writer and she is very famous, and she basically talks about complex psychological problem. Please do underline this. Okay? Yes. After that, one of her, unfortunately for Kannada literature, now what she is saying, yes, unfortunately for Kannada literature, she died very young. So she was very popular. People loved reading her stories because they were written in very simple language and they felt very realistic. But this is a very sad thing that she died early, very young, and even now after 40 years, people continue to appreciate her novels. So novels are such things, like it doesn't matter when you actually wrote that novel. Okay, those were the times, like those were the simpler times when you wrote that novel, but it can clearly relate to the people of modern world, right? So first of all, whenever an author introduces another person in a story, you should ask, like, why Triveni is important over here. Why Triveni is important? Because in one of her novel, in this story, you will see that one of her novel becomes the reason for the main incident in the chapter. Why she has introduced Triveni? What is the relevance? Because she will become the main incident in the chapter because of her novel. Okay? And one more thing, author also tells us that good writing does not always means difficult word, as I told you, right? Triveni wrote in a very simple Kannada, and even ordinary and simple people enjoyed reading her texts, like her novels, right? And why people connected? Because of the real life situations and real life emotions she used to, convey in her novels. Okay, so unfortunately, even now after 40 years, people continue to appreciate her novels. So time has passed, but the essence, the purity, the style, the unique way in which she expresses her ideas can never go, out of fashion, right? So, yes. Okay. After that, now one of her novels called Kashi Yatre. Now, very important point. Kashi Yatre will play a major role in this entire story. One of her novels called Kashi Yatre was appearing as a serial in the Kannada Weekly. So now, episodes, you all know that we have episodes in novel, like we have acts in novel, we have episodes in novel, hai na? So over here, author is trying to say that one of her novels named Kashi Yatre appearing as a serial in the Kannada Weekly. So Kannada Weekly, there used to be a magazine named Kannada Weekly named Karam Veera. So the name of the magazine is Karam Veera, and episodes, like we watch episodes on OTTs, right? So during that time, they did not have OTTs, they did not have internet connection, they did not have any sort of connection, right? Any sort of technology basically. But we can clearly see that they wait for such magazines, for newspapers, for entertainment, or for further knowledge or information. Okay, so Kashi Yatre's episodes basically used to publish in Karam Veera, which is a weekly magazine. It is the story of an old lady and her ardent as in keen desire. So Kashi Yatre's storyline, she is telling us that ardent desire to go to Kashi or Varanasi. So there was an old lady in that particular novel who wants to go to Kashi or Varanasi, which is basically the same. Most Hindu believes that going to Kashi and worshipping Lord Vishveshwara is the ultimate punya. So we all know that in our culture, this is very relevant, that if we do this, this is punya, this is pap, as you all know, right? So over here, she's saying that old lady wanted to go to Kashi because of the belief that if you go to Kashi and worship Lord Vishveshwara, then you can get lots and lots of punya, right? You can get lots and lots of punya. This old lady also believed in this, and her struggle to go there was described in that novel. So basically that novel was about a lady who wants to go to Kashi and to, and to get punya or to earn punya and to worship Lord Vishveshwara, and she basically struggles, okay, to go there, and the story was about the entire struggle of that particular old lady. In the story, there was also a young orphan girl who falls in love, but there was no money. Then comes the twist in the story that there is also a young orphan girl who falls in love, but there was no money for the wedding. Now, there is no money. She wants to go to Kashi. There is a young girl, orphan also, and wants to get married. Now, what will happen? You can only, get the punya if you worship Lord Vishveshwara, or you will get punya if you do good. If you do good deed, obviously. Right? Yes. Very nice. To go there was described in that novel. So in the story, there was a young, okay. In the end, the old lady gives away all her savings without going to Kashi. Oh my God. So what is she doing? She is basically giving the entire saving which she was, she was saving because she wanted to go to Kashi, and now she's helping that girl who is in love, and she's also orphan. So basically she can't get married, right? Because she doesn't have money. So she's helping her. She says the happiness of this orphan girl is more important than worshipping Lord Vishveshwara at Kashi, which is completely true. Which I also agree, that what is important is to make someone happy. right? What is important? Yes. Okay. Are you guys getting my point? Yes. So every week you can clearly see that readers, all the readers received new chapter and had to wait for the next issue to continue the story. So this basically created suspense and made readers excited also for every new edition of the magazine, right? Okay, so over here she is telling us the story that this is happening, and she shares all the money, she gives all the money for to this orphan girl for her happiness so that she can get married. My grandmother Krishtaka, now she introduces her grandmother, her name is Krishtaka. Okay, her name is Krishtaka, never went to school. Now grandmother is illiterate, so she could not read. Every Wednesday the magazine would come and I would read the next episode. So I over here is Sudha Murthy. So she is saying that every week when the magazine used to come, I used to read her that particular chapter or that particular episode because she is illiterate. And you all know that girls' education is still a very big thing in these areas, like in village or in these tier 2, tier 3 areas. Right, tier 2, tier 3 areas, their girls still struggle to get education, and you all know that, right? You all know that. So over here we can clearly see that grandmother is illiterate, and during that time she would forget all her work and listen with the greatest concentration. So she was very much engrossed in the story. She was, I think, very much related with the story, right? Yes, it connected with her faith, it connected with her lifelong devotion, right? So this poor orphan girl wishes to get married but has no money. So now we have two characters, right? That old lady and Sudha Murthy's grandmother. Now we have these two characters. Why the grandmother connects with the old lady? Why? Kashi Yatre. Why the character in Kashi Yatre, that old lady, why she connects herself a lot with this lady? That lady's wish, that lady's biggest dream is to visit Kashi, right? And then she introduces a poor orphan girl. So the story combines basically faith with human compassion, I would say, right? So over here you can clearly see the novel reaches an emotional stage where the old woman decides to give away all the money she had saved for her pilgrimage to help the orphan girl get married. This is the most important moment in the novel. Imagine saving money for years to fulfill your biggest dream. Now imagine giving up that entire savings for someone else, that someone else can live a happier life. That is exactly what the old woman does. She believes that helping other people, helping other person is a greater act of goodness, punya, that fulfilling her own, that is basically than fulfilling her own, religious wish. That is a greater thing to do. So throughout the decision, the novel basically teaches us that kindness, selflessness are basically more valuable than rituals alone, right? if you do all these yatras and everything, then you will get moksha. No, obviously, it is your religion, you should respect it, you can go anywhere you want. But that doesn't mean that if you're doing wrong, if you're hurting people, then also you will go to heaven and you will see all the, you will get all the punya. Old woman sacrifices her lifelong dream over here. She helps the orphan girl, right? So, central message of that particular novel is compassion and selflessness. Now, author introduces her grandmother Krishnataka, and she tells us that her grandmother had never been to school. She is illiterate. They already told us, right? She is illiterate, right? She cannot read. Hannah, she had never been to school. So she could not read, she could not write, and that's why every Wednesday when the magazine arrived, the author would read the latest episode or the latest chapter of Kashi Yatre. Right? Yes, so that she can, so this is basically the starting of the real story. Until now, author was giving us only the background about the village, about the magazine, about our writer Triveni and novel Kashi Yatra. Yes, she was giving us all these details. Yes or no? Right? Yes. Now she introduces the most important person in the story, that is her grandmother. What is the name of the grandmother? Krishnataka. Krishtaka, I guess. Did you notice something important here? It's not like grandmother was unintelligent. She simply never got the opportunity to go to school. In those days, as I told you, many girls were not educated because society believed that education was unnecessary for them. They are made for all the household chores and not for education. And every Wednesday became a special day over here for grandmother because she could not listen to the, so that she could listen obviously to the next chapter of her favorite story. So this shows a very close bond between the grandmother and daughter. ठीक है? Clear है? Okay. So later she could repeat the entire text by heart. So she's saying that she was so into that novel. She was feeling so relatable with every aspect of that lady, every aspect of the story, right? And that is the beauty of Triveni, the writer of that novel, right? Complex psychological things she mentions in the life of ordinary people. Now over here, grandmother depends completely on her granddaughter to read the magazine, right? Later, she could repeat the entire text by heart. My grandmother too never went to Kashi and she identified herself. This is the word, identified herself with the novel's protagonist, right? So more than anybody else, she was the one most interested in knowing what happened next in the story and used to insist that I read the serial out to her. After hearing what happened next in Kashi Yatre, she would join her friends at the temple courtyard, where the children would also gather to play hide and seek. So with this line, we can clearly say that she was not unintelligent, right? She can repeat that entire story from her memory. She can repeat that. So she's not unintelligent, she's illiterate, right? This paragraph tells us that grandmother loved stories. Normally, we can clearly see she must be doing, she remained busy with all these cooking and household work throughout the day, right? But whenever the story was read out loud, she stopped everything and basically focused only on listening part. This shows that she basically respected literature, loved learning, right? And even though she could not read herself. Yes? Yes. So, this clearly shows that she has an excellent memory. She remembered the story so well that she could discuss it later without forgetting the details. So, she was intelligent, she was smart. She was only listening to the story, but she can remember each and every detail. She can remember each and every thing, every aspect. So this shows that education is not like equal to intelligence. A person may be very intelligent but still remain uneducated because they never had the chance to study. Right? So she's the protagonist. She could identify herself with the protagonist, and she was the one most interested in knowing what happened next. So she was always curious about this thing, that what happened next. Like when we see one episode, then we feel like what will happen now, what will be in the next episode, and we wait for the entire week for the next episodes. You know that so many web series these days, they basically launch, or they, they publish, or they release the episode every Wednesday or every Thursday, right? So something like this. So we always get this feeling that what will happen next. We also get curious, right? What will happen next? Yes or no? Right? And whenever we see something, or whenever we read something, we basically see ourselves. Whenever we see ourselves in a story, we become emotionally attached to all the characters also. Grandmother and the old lady in the novel, they had similar dreams, and they have similar experiences. Both belong to the old generation, and both had unfulfilled wishes. That is why every new chapter becomes more meaningful for her. Right? Now, she would join her friends at the temple courtyard, where we children would also gather to play hide and seek. So there the children used to play hide and seek and everything, and she used to tell her friends all the details, like the entire detail of that chapter, which she read to her. Right? After that, she would discuss the latest episode with her friends. Okay. She would discuss the latest episode with her friends. At that time, I never understood why there was so much of debate about the story. So whenever we see something, whenever we read something, we always like to discuss it with our friends. Like, what happened? Yes, she said this, Hannah, and then eventually she died, and she was, whatever the turning point in the story is, we get a kick whenever we discuss that story with our friends, right? So after listening to the week's chapter, the grandmother went to the temple courtyard to meet her friends, and there they discussed the latest events of the story while the children basically played nearby. So there was no television at that time, there was no mobile, no social media during those days. So children used to play like this. They used to go to temple, they used to play in the courtyard. People met each other personally and discussed books, magazines, and daily events. Right? She would discuss the latest episode with her friends at time, okay? At that time, I never understood why there was so much of debate about the story. Once I went for a wedding with my cousins to the neighboring village. This is very important. You will see questions from this point. Once I went for a wedding with my cousins to the neighboring village. In those days, a wedding was a great event. We children enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. We would eat and play endlessly, savoring the freedom because all the elders were busy. I went for a couple of days but ended up staying there for a week. Now, what will happen now? What will the grandmother do? She wants to know what happened next in the story, but her granddaughter is not there to read that out. Right? So what is going to happen? Once I went for a wedding. So she's saying that once there was a wedding ठीक है, and she went to that wedding with her cousin, and in those days a wedding was a great event, so people used to enjoy, and it's a very big event, like a 10-day event, right? And we children enjoyed ourselves thoroughly as in fully. We would eat and play endlessly, savoring as in enjoying the freedom, because all the elders were busy, so everybody else is busy, so the children can obviously enjoy themselves, and they can play, they can eat whatever they want, they do not have to do anything, right? So as a child, basically she's saying that she did not understand as a child why the elderly women spent so much time discussing the story, like the events, what happened next. Because students, children, I was trying to say that children and adults often see things very differently, right? Young author like Sudha Murty only thought of the novel as a story. For her, that was just a story. But the grandmother identified herself with the protagonist of the story. That's why she was emotionally attached to that character. Right? Yes. When I came back to my village, I saw my grandmother in tears. So her grandmother was crying. I was surprised, for I had never seen her cry even the most difficult situation. So she was like, why she is crying? She is a solid lady. She is a bold lady. She never cries. And why she is crying at this point of time? Right? Why she is crying? What happened? I was worried. So she was like, what happened? What happened? Avva, is everything all right? Are you okay? She thought something bad has happened. Right? So I used to call her Avva. So what Sudha Murty calls her grandmother? Avva. Kya bulati hai? Avva. Which means mother in the Kannada, spoken in North Karnataka. So in Kannada language, Avva is basically mother. Right? So she went there for few days, but then she ended up living there for a week, staying there for a week, and now she is crying over here. Can you all guess the reason why grandmother is crying here? Why she is upset? She nodded but did not reply. I did not understand and forgot about it. In the night after dinner, we were sleeping in the open terrace of our house. Again, you can clearly see those old times, simpler times, and good old days when we used to sleep on the terrace with the entire family, with one standing fan, and everybody used to laugh a lot and talk about all these things, and we used to listen to all the stories right there. So yes, after dinner, we were sleeping in the open terrace of our house. It was a summer night and there was a full moon. Avva came and sat next to me. So she came and sat beside her. Her affectionate hands touched my forehead. So she's saying her affectionate hands. Grandmother, she loves Sudha Murty. Right? She loves her granddaughter. Right? Affectionate hands, like we can clearly see the pure love in our grandparents' eyes, parents' eyes, right? They love us. They love their grandchildren, right? So when Sudha Murty saw her grandmother crying, she was in a shock, like, what happened, grandmother? She has never seen her cry, even in the difficult times, and now she is crying. So this is basically the emotional turning point. And she was not able to understand why this happened. And at night, her grandmother is sitting basically with Sudha Murty. Like Sudha Murty and grandmother, they are like on the terrace and they are like this. She's sleeping and she basically sits next to her, and her affectionate hands touched my forehead. So she basically like do like this, like mera bachcha, my baby. I realized she wanted to speak. I asked her what is the matter. So I realized that yes, maybe she wants to say something. Maybe she wants to tell me that why she was upset, why she was crying at that time. Right? Yes. So she asked, what is the matter? When I was a young girl, now she tells us the story that when I was a young girl, I lost my mother. This is a very, this shows that grandmother faced so many challenges in her life because she lost her mother at an early stage of life. Are you guys getting my point? When I was a young girl, I lost my mother and there was nobody to look after and guide me. There was nobody to look after and guide me. So she has to take the responsibility. She has to manage the household chores and everything. Right? My father was a busy man and got married again. Now the stepmom. In those days, people never considered education essential for girls. And as I told you, that time was not at all a good time for women. And today, the time is, I think, even worse for girls. Right? Like it's now unsafe also. Right? So, yes. In those days, people never considered education essential for girls, so I never went to school. She never went to school, so she was not educated, right? Because her mother died and her father married someone else, and in those days, people obviously considered that women is just to do all the household work, just to produce babies, just to get married and take care of her husband and children and in-laws and everything. Later, I had grandchildren and always felt so much happiness in cooking and feeding all of you. And she says that as the time passed, I became very busy and I had grandchildren and all. I always loved this thing to basically help them and cook food for them. At times, I used to regret not going to school. Sometimes she might be having that feeling that why did she not go to school? Because she wants to read. She's very much interested in these stories. That means she loves literature. And just because she is illiterate, she cannot read, she's feeling helpless at this point of time. That she needs someone to dictate that story, obviously, to read that story out loud to her. Right? Yes. So I made sure that my children and grandchildren studied well. So whenever we are not able to do anything, we think that our children or our brother and sister, our siblings should never face, like we have this feeling that they should never face this situation again. They should never face this situation again. Right? We always feel this thing. Like if I was not able to do this, I was not blessed enough to get education, I don't want my grandchildren to suffer that pain, to suffer that struggle, right? After that, what happens? I could not understand why my 62-year-old grandmother was telling me, she's like, what she's talking about? Because obviously, she was only 12. She was at that time only 12 years old, and I could not understand why my 62-year-old grandmother was telling me all this, that I lost my mother, then my father married someone else, then I had grandchildren and I loved everything. Why she is telling all these things? So, I loved her immensely, but I knew I loved her immensely and there had to be some reason why she was talking to me. I looked at her face, I was unhappy and her eyes were filled with tears. She was a good looking lady who was usually always smiling. So now what is she trying to say? That she loves her grandmother a lot. And at that time, she was thinking that there had to be some reason that why she is giving me this background. Right? Why she is giving me this background, why she is telling me all the small details, all the problems and struggles of her life. Like she was a good looking lady who was usually always smiling, and today she is crying. She's sharing her struggles with me. So even today I cannot forget the word worried expression on her face. I leaned forward and held her hand. So I think, like she says, I cannot forget the worried expression. That she's saying that I still remember that face expression of her grandmother. She can still remember that expression of hers, and she is saying that she was worried at that time because she loves her grandmother a lot. And I leaned forward and held her hand. Amma, don't cry. What is the matter? Can I help you in any way? Right? Yes, I need your help. You know, when you were away, Karamveera came as usual. I opened the magazine. I saw the picture that accompanies the story of Kashi Yatre, and I could not understand anything that was written. Many times I rubbed my hands over the pages. This is a very important point in the story where she says, I rubbed my hands over the pages. So she's saying when you were away, Karamveera came as usual, and I opened the magazine. I saw the pictures. I rubbed my hands. I literally rubbed my hands on the pages. So she's trying to understand. She is feeling helpless at this point of time. Now, I felt you would come early and read for me. I even thought of going to the village and asking you to read for me. So she said that she faced a lot of struggle while she was away, and she even thought of going to the village and asking you to read for me. She thought that I should go there because the wedding was in the nearby village only, and she thought that I should go to the nearby village and ask you basically to read. Please read for me. I could have asked somebody in the village, but I was too embarrassed. Now see, she is feeling embarrassed. She is saying that I did not have the courage to basically ask someone that please read this story to me. So we can clearly see she has some self-respect, and she felt embarrassed that she is not educated, right? So I felt very dependent and helpless. We are well off, but what use is money when I cannot be independent? So she's saying education is more important. Money is not that important. Education is important. We are well off. We have everything. But what use is money when I cannot be independent? So independent, that means if you have money but still you are dependent on someone, then this is not a good thing. This is not a good experience. This is not a good experience. This is not a good feeling to feel, right? That you have everything but you still feel dependent. That why I have to ask for this thing. And obviously losing a mother at such an early stage is not a good experience, and she was facing all these things, but still she had so much of self-respect. She was bold, she was beautiful, she was intelligent, and she's saying that I was feeling helpless because you were not here. So I did not know what to answer. Ava continued, I have decided I want to learn the Kannada alphabet. Very, very important point of the story, that she decided to learn Kannada alphabet from tomorrow onwards, and I will work. So learning has no age. I will work very hard. I will keep Saraswati Puja during Dussehra as the deadline. So she is giving her basically a target. She is giving herself a target. She is giving herself a deadline that I have to learn. So we can clearly see the determination in her, right? That she really wants to learn. I will keep Saraswati Puja as the deadline, and that day I should be able to read a novel on my own. And it's like an exam. I want to be independent. I am done with all these things, like being dependent and feeling helpless. I don't want to feel that thing again. So I saw the determination on her face. I laughed at her. Ava, at this age of 62, you want to learn the alphabet? She's saying, what? You're 62. Why you want to learn at this age? Like, what is the use? You don't have so much of time basically. So why do you want to learn at this age? All your hair is grey, your hands are wrinkled, you wear spectacles, and you work so much in the kitchen. Childishly, basically, I made fun. Like, she's making fun of her her grandmother. Why she's making fun of her grandmother? Because she's a child. She doesn't know that. Whatever she is doing. So she just smiled. For a good cause, if you are determined, you can overcome any obstacle. So her grandmother says that You need to be determined. Again, another theme, that determination is the key to success. If you want to achieve something in life, at any age, at any time, in whatever condition you are, you just need to be determined. Right? The next day onwards, I started my tuition. Ava was a wonderful student. The amount of hard work, homework she did was amazing. She would read, repeat, write and recite. She was intelligent. She was a good learner. Right? Yes or no? She remembers each and every detail of the story. So she's a good learner. She's a quick learner, and over here she's doing homework. That means she is doing the hard work. She's doing the practice. Right? Little did I know that then that one day I would become a teacher in computer science and teach hundreds of students. So she's saying that she was my first student, and she, in her mind, like a 12-year-old girl, thinking that I'll be a computer teacher. Okay, the Sera festival came as usual. Secretly, I bought Kashi Yatri, which had been published as a novel by that time. And my grandmother called me. So her grandmother basically is ready, I think, right? Because it's the day, it's the time, it is the deadline she gave, right? And to the puja place and made me sit down on a stool. So she called Sudha Murthy. She asks her to sit down, right, on a stool. She gave me a gift of frock material, and then she, this is also very important part in the story, like they can ask question from this part. Then she did something unusual. What was that? She bent down and touched my feet, because Sudha Murthy, doesn't matter, she was a 12-year-old girl and Dadima was like 62 or something. It doesn't matter. You can be a teacher at any age, and anyone can be a student at any age. This is the main theme of this chapter. This is the central idea of the chapter. I was surprised and taken aback. I was like, what are you doing, Ava? Elders never touch the feet of youngsters, right? We have always touched the feet of God, elders and teachers. We consider that, right? We consider that basically a part of, mark of respect. So we always touch the feet of that person, of only what I was saying. We only touch feet whenever we want to show respect to someone, right? Whenever we want to show respect, we touch their feet, right? Okay, we have always touched the feet of God, elders and teachers, obviously, because we respect them. We consider that as a mark of respect, and it is a great tradition, but today the reverse had happened. It was not correct. Okay? Today, basically, grandmother is touching feet of her granddaughter, which is completely opposite. And she said, I'm touching the feet of a teacher, not my granddaughter. Then she explains that why she is touching her feet. Right? A teacher who taught me so well with so much of affection as in with love, that I can read any novel confidently in such a short period. That you're a great teacher, you taught me everything, you taught me with patience, you taught me with love, that I can read any novel. I am not dependent at all. Right? So the desire that she had to become independent is now fulfilled. Right? And I can read any novel confidently in such a short period. Now I am independent. It is my duty to respect a teacher. Is it not written in our scriptures that a teacher should be respected irrespective of the gender and age? Very important part. They can ask a question that you should respect a teacher irrespective of the gender and age. Whether she is a male, whether she is a female, whether she is a 12-year-old, whether she is a 62-year-old. She basically understood the true value of education. And her determination over here in this story began at the age of 62. Right? So I did return her namaskar to her by touching her feet, and I gave my gift to my very first student. She opened it and read immediately the title Kashi Yatri by Triveni and the publisher's name, and she read it herself. I knew then that my student had passed with flying colors. And that's how the story ends. Sudha Murthy, what a beautiful story, and basically gives us the message that there are two things in life, right? You can learn whenever you want to learn. Doesn't matter you are 12, you are 20, you are 30, or 40, or 50, or 60, 70, 80, 90. Doesn't matter. You can learn at any stage of life. And if you want to be successful, if you want to achieve success, you need determination. That is the only thing. Determination is the key to success. You can learn at any stage, but if you want to be successful, you need to have determination. Okay? Okay. So I wish and I hope that you loved the chapter. I basically feel so good whenever I teach this chapter. I feel like I can connect with Sudha Murthy, and I can connect with that, with a grandmother also, because she was feeling helpless, she was feeling angry, she was feeling that she has basically spent her entire life doing nothing. Like, she lost her mother at such a small age. Her father didn't love her. She spent her entire life doing all these household chores and all these things for other people. She always showed love to them so that they can achieve what she was not able to. Right? So learning has no age limit, and I think that's it. Bye bye everyone. Take care. All the best.